Good morning, everybody. It's Jillian. So I know that the last night, I was posting a lot about people in my group and all that, and what right now I'm expecting, and new people and all that stuff. The thing about the J Juice is that I'm not like other vendors out there that are looking for customers. I'm not. Um, I'm not trying to be anyone's guru. I'm not trying to be any kind of god, so to speak. Um, if anything, if you see how I act, I almost try to push people away. Now, it seems kind of weird. Like, why would you want people to do this, Jillian? So why are you acting this way? Why are you being so harsh and so aggressive? And it's interesting because at first, in the way, when I look at some of my posts and I look at some of my reactions, I'm thinking, is there something wrong with me? Why am I reacting? Why am I not so like empathetic and so easy and accommodating and just amiable and all of that? And then I'm like, that's how people have been treated their whole life. That's how, in a lot of ways, that's how manipulators, and that's how that's how somebody tries to sell something, is they use those tactics. And it's not that I'm actively thinking this way, but I look back on how I reacted, and it's like, I know how difficult this protocol is. And I know, after running that 60,000 group and even a 400 person group where everyone was asking like the same questions, and no one wanted to read anything, and they're all trying to do things the last minute, Hail Mary, shortcuts, this, that. It becomes quite taxing. And when you're trying to get a bunch of stuff done, or you're trying to focus on things and trying to narrow your attention span on things that are adding more to my development of my book than taking away from my development of my book, then I start picking and choosing the interactions that I do. And so then you see kind of why it is I act the way I do. Because I'll tell you what, no matter what, you can't mess up with the protocol. You can't. Salt is going to eat up anything pathogenic, as far as yeast, which is not pathogenic, but it will eat up yeast or neutralize yeast. It'll neutralize mold. Um, if you want it juicier, you just use less cabbage, and you don't have to keep it out of the refrigerator. You can put it in the refrigerator, and you don't need as much. Okay, so you really can't mess up. So there really shouldn't be any too many questions about it, because it's just cabbage, water, and salt in jars, and then a specific temperature. And so really, like, a lot of the questions, a lot of the concerns, all that stuff really stem from the fears of thinking you're gonna do something wrong. And I'm telling you, you can't mess up. Okay, you can't mess up. Taste, smell, all that stuff is gonna fluctuate based upon the different bacteria, and what, and even the minerals and stuff on the cabbage and kale. And so, but nothing is poison. Nothing is bad. You got to feel all symptoms. So you really can't mess up with the J juice. You really can't. So then I realized that I really don't want and don't need to be like babysitting my group. And then, of course, knowing that you can, the first sign that a person is ready to do something like J juice is when they're either they're so desperate to figure something out because they've tried everything. They're already doing the juice. They don't even need really any instruction. They're like, okay, you ferment, you cut it up, you puree it, you cut it up, you put it in with the cabbage, water, and salt, do all the measurements, you puree it, adjust it for the preference and juiciness and all that, and then you sit it out in room temperature, 65, 72 degrees, airtight jars for a couple days, and mix and stir if you want, and then stick in the fridge, and then just drink as you want over, and then get off it, for a short amount of time. And so it's like it's not difficult. Um, and so, the J juice and the whole protocol is something that you could do just very quickly on your own, and you don't need too much instruction, and you have to feel symptoms. So it's just like it doesn't require too many people asking questions about it. You either drink it or you don't drink it. Okay, and then now with this environment, you don't need as much. So last night, I'm looking at people that were, last night I was very sensitive because there are people that were in my group before that have been doing this that are now starting over again and asking the same questions. And so you saw me get a little sensitive over this, absolutely, because I don't know how much this person is going to be drinking because we're in COVID season now. Why do they come back? COVID season. Okay, when we're in COVID season, it means that people are going to try to do J juice in reaction to. Now, maybe they did a waterfalls and they got off it, but maybe all you do is do a few waterfalls and that's it. Okay, this is a very temporary venture in this environment. And so I did get sensitive because I don't want people thinking that this is a continuous thing over a long period of time to do it in reaction to all this stuff, because the first sign of you evolving is actually feeling your evolution, feeling the pain, feeling the mucus, feeling the thoughts and the feelings and whatever. Okay, when I was so skinny, I was drinking so much J juice and not eating, I was so skinny, I wasn't coding my DNA at all. That's why I looked like I was skinny. I looked great, yeah, but I wasn't reversing the aging process. I didn't have any fat on my face. I was losing collagen, losing substance. And there's pictures of me looking skeletal. It's when you finally get off the J juice, after you reset your body, you open up or you woke up the latent viruses that you suppressed. And then you eat all the food supply and you feel everything. You feel the headaches, you feel all the stuff. And I have a feeling that's not what's going on with the predominant people in my group. And the whole point is to feel stuff. But I thought it's supposed to be like, you're not supposed to be in pain. Only if the environment is not dynamic. If the environment's dynamic, you got to feel it. See, that's the New World Order's way of entrapping people, right? Is they know that you all are very dependent on all of your activities. You don't want to feel pain. You still want to go to concerts. You still want to go hang out with all your friends. I understand you have to work, but maybe there's ways in which you can go about doing this without destroying yourself and working, and you'll figure that out. But they know that people don't want to feel pain. And so you're always going to be taking some kind of cure to stay in the game, whether it's the J juice or turmeric and honey and supplements or detoxes or vectors. And so always they set you up to fail for those that are really predisposed. Okay? And so now the J juice is saying, okay, you're supposed to feel pain. So if the environment is not very dynamic, then yeah. If you're some guru out in the middle of the mountains and you have like all your creature comforts and you have the salt and you have meat and milk, cheese, eggs, climate control, and all of that, you can get away with maybe drinking a tiny bit of J juice and eating the food supply and just adjusting to the climate and all that stuff. And you don't even need that much J juice because why would you? Once you regulate your body and you're not going to feel anything, you're not have to go out anywhere, then you don't really have to do J juice in the middle of nowhere. Just eat a high sodium diet, right? But it's when you meet other people, this is the thing where it's different. Let's say that guru then finally travels to a village and that village has a lot of viruses. He's going to have to then adjust to those viruses. And maybe he might do one reset just to kind of reset his body if he lives among that village. And then he adapts to that new environment. Would he have to do J juice to reset his body to go hang out? I don't know, but maybe that person needs to. Who knows? But if that person was doing J juice up in the mountains by himself for many years, a tiny bit, and then got off it and was just hanging out with this environment, and then he goes into another environment, and he has a major reaction. Maybe he might use a little bit of J juice to kind of help speed up stuff and release some of the demons, so that way he can then eat all the food supply and deal with all that. And so that's when the aging process really accelerates, is when a solitary person in the middle of the mountains goes then and hangs out with a village of people that he doesn't even know. And so then he has to adjust to the level of that environment. And that's no different than right now. I'm right now in my own little solitary island. Once I go out there, I will have to adjust to every single environment and come home and recover from that. And that's the whole point of the JJ mentality, is that you adapt to the level of your environment, but it means that you have to feel mucus. It means you have to feel everything. And so I cringe when I see people in my group that's been in there for a while telling everyone, oh yeah, you do this. I don't leave it in the fridge. I leave it out. I do this. I'm drinking this. I've been on it. I'm not in the group, but I've been on it. I'm like, you've been in this group for the last freaking 4 years. Why are you still doing J juice? Then I go look in their pictures and they haven't changed. They haven't reversed the aging process. You know why? Because they put themselves in a cure state of decline, and eventually they'll be the crypt keeper. And so the specific measure result, knowing that you've actually reversed the aging process, is that you see college in your face. You see actual reversal of, you're in your youth now. But I see none of that, because I know people want to be out there. And when you want to be out there, you want to be asymptomatic, and you haven't dealt with all your issues, and you can't sit home for nothing. And so, yeah, people are not going to survive even on the J juice, because they don't know when to get off it. And so, yeah, I get kind of pissy. I get bitchy, and I want to push people away, because they're not going to survive anyway. So they're no use to us, and they're no use, and I'm no use to them. So where's the relationship? So then I'm like, yeah, see you later. Or when I say, you guys need to start reading the pin post and doing this and doing that, and I get on somebody, and then someone comes in there and pretends like they're the nice person, oh, I block that person. And that's who one of my moderators brought in, and she had already defriended me a long time ago, and maybe I defriended her. But people try to come in and try to undermine me and try to pretend like they're being the nice guy. Oh, you should do this, you should do that. Trying to act like, oh, Jillian's being stupid again. Jillian's being aggressive again. And so it's like, then it turns into, so when someone tries to play that game with me, that they're trying to be the nice person because I'm being aggressive, then they're playing that good cop, bad cop, and doing the same thing that we did before, where everyone's just like, oh yeah, you should do this, but and I'm like, Tina, you've been on this. It was a Tina Hawkins. You've been on this J juice the last 4 years. You offered nothing into this group, and now you want to go and instruct someone how to make it or whatever, or answer all these questions that really don't need to be answered. I already answered them, but when you go behind me and try to then overstep where I'm coming from, screw you. Screw you. I don't want someone coming in and pretending to be like they're the good guy, because no, people need to stand on their own 2 freaking feet. And you've been in this group forever, and you haven't gone off the J juice, and I hear no other evolution, no other, oh yeah, I'm following you, and I see I need to get off the J juice, I need to feel the environment. No, nothing. People are using the J juice as a cure, and so they're not evolving, and I can tell because they have the same responses to everything. The same responses. And when someone comes in, oh yeah, look at my juices and do this, and ask me all these different questions, the same stuff, and I'm like, and so then, yes, I get sensitive to revisiting the past. So not everybody is equipped to evolve with the J juice. And when I see the same kind of responses in people who've been on this juice for a while, and there is no change in how they respond to people's questions, they're not acknowledging the evolution from the last couple months. They're not acknowledging that they should be probably off of it right now, eating all the food supply and feeling the environment. Then I know they're not evolving, so there's no reason for them to be in my group. They're not getting anything from it. So yeah, so I actually am trying to chase people away who are not actively evolving, and they're proving it to me. If you don't say anything to my group, then there's nothing that I can use against you, right? So those that are silent are probably the smart ones, because even if they're not evolving with my information, they're keeping that shit to themselves, and that's up to them. They're going to have to deal with their repercussions. But I don't want anyone actively promoting that they're not evolving in my group. Because once I get wind of that you are not evolving, that you're still using J juice in reaction to because of whatever reason, and you're putting that out there, that's when I'm like, nope, that's not going to happen. And I'm going to target you specifically. I'll say something because it's my group. You're in my group for a reason. And so, yeah, I mean, if you must keep up with this information. This is about understanding both sides of the argument. You understand the catalyst to evolution side of the J juice mentality and salt, and then you understand that it has a curative effect. And that's not the point. We're not trying to chase after a cure. We're trying to evolve. But that also means that you might have to change your lifestyle a tiny bit. And some of you aren't ready for that, and you know you're not ready, so you're not going to say anything, and I get it. Maybe you're all trying to balance out. You all say, no, maybe she's mistaken. Maybe you can do the J juice and be out there. But I'm sorry, remember, the vectors do the same thing. The vectors are the cures. That's what all of you that are anti-vector. You don't want, you think it's causing, cancer, disease, and chronic illness. Well, you're absolutely right when you're at a deficit in a cured state. So what do you think the J juice can do? You won't get cancer, disease, right? But you will die from malnutrition. You will die from being the crypt keeper because there's no substance to you. You're not evolving. And so when your body tries to evolve because of a new variant, you're going to keep taking J juice in reaction to because you don't want to feel anything. You want to dry up the mucus. And so the body doesn't code the food. And so you're using J juice in the same way the vectors are being used. So how are you any different? It's just the same thing, but a different methodology. So that's why I'm so sensitive to people in my group still on the J juice, not evolving, and they've been it for the last 4 years, and they're so, boisterous about that they're still on the J juice. And so anyone that comments and tries to help a person who is not new out, I'm not taking anyone new in my group. I'm not. Because I don't want them going down that road and then, I could use them as a hook or use them as bait to bring in all the people who are still on the J juice who've been on it for the last 5 years. And I can go kick everybody out, but I don't really need to do that right now. I don't want to spend the time doing that. But someone did email me and ask me, can I belong to a group? I used to know Kelsey Brown. Remember all that? Oh, Jesus. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not taking it because they're still in the pink Himalayan salt. They haven't even, graduated to reading the recipe and watching any of my videos. They just heard something from Kelsey Brown and she's saying this is not, and it's not pink salt anymore. It's white salt. And so I know when I bring someone new in the group, they're going to have all these questions. They're going to be asking everyone everything. And I don't feel like training someone new to know how to even move about in my group. And so I'd rather keep people right now, maybe as friends. I'll bring them as a friend, but they can't be asking questions and they can't be, taxing me through private messenger. And they just read the pinned post, watch the videos, and decide if they want to do it or not. The book's going to be out next year, so now you have a chance to kind of do a preemptive and do your own research and investigate if this is something that you're willing to do, because this ain't easy. And I will not pretend this is easy, because it ain't. That's why I chase people away, because if you can't handle me and my aggressive, like, hey, hello, should you really be doing this now because you've been on it for the last 4 years? I don't think so. If you can't handle my aggressive reactions to some people, let me tell you, you will not be able to handle your own immune system that's going to give you an aggressive reaction. I'll tell you, you will not. I pale in what is it? Your reactions will pale in comparison. Well, no. My reactions will pale in comparison to what you will be dealing with. Okay? Because a lot of you hold a lot of predispositions, a lot of anger, obesity, underweight, anxiety, pains, and all that stuff. And I am only the tip of the iceberg. Because then when you do J juice and you haven't fully researched what it is and you feel all the pain, holy crap, the vipers come out in people. And you saw that on Dr. Phil. I said, pain is healing. Oh no, those two ladies were like, oh, Jillian tried to hurt me. There is nothing poisonous with salt. It's a curative effect. And it's also a catalyst to evolution. They couldn't handle evolution. And they made sure everyone in the world knew that they couldn't handle evolution. And then they bring in some YouTuber who's like, oh yeah, I'm going to go and ride the wave on this. I wonder how he's doing. I hope he's doing okay. He was an opportunist. Good for him. There's a lot of opportunists out there, but that's only temporary. So, but he definitely helped me skyrocket me to the next hemisphere. So it was a mutually beneficial relationship, I suppose. But I still hold no ill will towards him or those two ladies. People didn't understand back then, and they still don't today. But that's not my problem. I've given every ounce of my energy and wrote 2 books with a lot of process. And if they can't comprehend that information, then yeah, I understand why they took that position. They probably never will understand this information, and that's too bad for them. Some people are not meant to evolve, and that's something that I figured out. Some people are not meant to evolve, and so you don't force a square peg in a round hole. You just let them have their beliefs and let them destroy themselves. Because I don't have to do anything to destroy anyone. People will do that to themselves. Okay? All you got to do is hands off and just let it happen. And then their friends and family will see it and they'll justify it. They can't blame anyone but themselves. They couldn't blame J Juice. I'm going to go, but you guys have a good day. Bye.